Welcome back to another edition of the Unknown Sports Podcast. My name is AJ Musser. Joined with me, as usual, is Hunter Harris and Austin Fyffe in the White Room. Hashtag cream. What's up, fellas?
What's up?
Another day.
Another day.
We're snowed in over here. Austin, are you snowed in? Are you still working? Tell us all about that.
Yeah, I'm working, but it's all right. How much snow did you guys get down there?
I don't know. I haven't been keeping track.
Maybe 6 inches, 6 to 8 inches, I would say.
6 to 8 inches and you're snowed in?
Not he doesn't mean snowed in. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I don't mean snowed in. I just went out driving a little bit. It's really not that bad.
No, the roads aren't bad, I'm sure.
We had like, I think 13 inches by like 3 o'clock yesterday. I think we're somewhere
we didn't have
somewhere in the 15 to 20 range now.
Yeah, no, we didn't have anything like that.
Pretty much, it's just been like anytime Missouri gets hit with anything storm-wise, we're just like, oh my god, we're not prepared whatsoever.
Yep.
Even though we do this every single year. So,
Hunter, with the news.
I actually have something by news to talk about this week.
Wow.
I actually had in my mind, I was like, I'm going to bring this up when they ask, and you're going to remember, Hunter. Brian Flores. We got to talk about Brian Flores and everything going on right there.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Where do we lead it off, Mr. Newsman?
Where do we even want to begin with this? Do we want to focus more on the fact that, I mean, we talked about him getting fired unjustly in a lot of aspects. And, I mean,
let's start there because I have some thoughts.
Okay.
Let's start out with the internal Yammnation of Brian Flores and the Miami Dolphins. Oh, wait, Hunter, dude, look at this. Eternal Yammnation. It's our beer, dude. From Torn Label. Austin, keep talking.
So when the Flores thing broke, it was obviously kind of a head scratcher. When he got fired, I'm talking about, not the news story. It's kind of a head scratcher. And I didn't quite understand it. Flores is a pretty darn good coach. But there was reports in there that he didn't believe in Tua and that the team as a whole was all in on Tua. So at that point, it made a lot of sense to me. You know, you don't want your head coach, the guy leading your team, to not be in on a guy that you're putting a lot of faith in. So I kind of just moved that to the side and was like, all right, agree to disagree moment, break ties, and give him a shot to get another job somewhere else, and let's move on. And then what? Tuesday night, Wednesday night happened, whatever night it was. And
Tuesday.
Holy crap, is there a lot?
There's a lot.
There is just so. So I guess we'll start back with the Dolphins because that's kind of where all this is originating from. And the fact that Stephen Ross, their owner, allegedly offered him $100,000 per loss during the 2019 season, where you could make an argument. And I know there was people making arguments that Flores borderline deserves some Coach of the Year votes, even though they only won 5 games, because that was one of the worst rosters that has been assembled in the last 25 years in the NFL. Everyone talked about it. Tank for Tua all year. And then Joe Burrow emerged. And ultimately, you're just trying to get his best draft pick as you can. However, trying to get a good draft pick and paying your coach for lack of performance are two different things. The major thing that's not being talked about enough, in my opinion, that's going on here is the alleged $17.5 million investment that Stephen Ross made into a gambling startup company in 2019. You cannot have someone operating one of the 32 franchises in the world, basically gambling against his own team that he has authority over while contributing money in sports gambling. It already kind of has a black eye to society when you talk about gambling in sports for things like this. And people think things like this are going to happen all the time because of stuff like Pete Rose and Tim Donaghy. But this is blatant. And if this is found guilty, he has to sell the team, right?
I believe so.
I would say so, but this isn't even the part of the story that's being focused on.
I agree. And I have a theory on that. And everything in our world is kind of, hey, look over here while this other stuff's going on. But the NFL is really good at it. Really good at it. Go all the way back to the Ray Rice stuff. They had the Ray Rice video for like 8 months before that video got leaked. Mm-hmm. Talking about, we're going to, that was right around when they were diving huge into concussions. And then there was this breakthrough that the NFL was all of a sudden funding some research and stuff that goes into CTE and all this other stuff. Oh, yeah, by the way, Ray Rice and several other players, Adrian Peterson with his kids, Tyreek Hill had an incident, Ray Rice, all of a sudden, domestic violence is a massive issue at our league. But hey, look at all the good stuff we're doing over here. So if they can turn this into, which is the other unfortunate, really bad portion of the story, into a potential, I'm trying to use my words carefully because I don't want it to come across bad. But if it's almost turned into a race issue and only a race issue, they can ignore what is, now I don't want to say the bigger issue because they're both really big issues, but there's something to be said for part of your league being, fixed, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, they honestly, as the NFL, should be glad that they had all this other stuff come alongside that news. Because if that was the focal point of the story, I don't know how the owner is going to survive that. It's almost like having all this other baggage on top of it is making it easier for this to slide under the radar. That's the main focal point of this story. Yeah, I know there's all these, black candidates that just basically get used to just fit the Rooney Rule, and we only have one black head coach in the league right now. That's a problem in itself, and that's a different conversation. I want to focus on just the fact, why is this not being focused on, that they're literally bribing a coach to lose. And
I think it's probably not being focused because the bigger issue is the race issue.
Okay. I agree it's the bigger issue, but
yeah. I think that's why it's not being focused. I understand it's not being focused on, but it's not going to get the focus. And Austin's kind of right in the look over here kind of thing, but that's what everyone's going to look at is the race part, and they're going to kind of let that part go. They shouldn't let it go. He should lose his team. But the other issue, the race issue, is the bigger issue.
I think in a way that stuff goes hand in hand, though. Because I think a lot of the parts, and I know it's not directly correlated here, but a lot of the owners and people in power as a whole across the sport and sports in general, the same people that will, participate in this type of behavior and bribery and other things, those are also the teams that are having major issues with racial injustices across their coaching staffs and front offices. This isn't, those bad eggs need to get out. There is a problem across the board in the NFL with both coaching staffs and front offices and the lack of minority candidates that are there. However, those same people, that's not their only issue. You don't have an owner that doesn't want to hire a black GM or a black head coach that is innocent of all other things. You can pair these things together and go, look, if we can find problems here, here, and here, and we have allegations or reports and stuff like that of also racial injustices, let's get these people out, because that's the only way this stuff is going to change. You have to remove these people.
And the only way that happens is by changing ownership. And that's something that the NFL really, in a lot of ways, can't do. And when they have the opportunity to actually take advantage of one of those situations and make a change happen, they just sweep it under the rug because these people have a lot of money and we're not going to mess with them.
Pretty much. what Hunter said. Like, yeah, I don't think much is going to be done. I mean, we saw how poorly Washington was run as an organization, and they have literally a laundry list of things that you could have removed the owner for. And instead, he quote unquote stepped down and gave the team to his wife. Like,
going back to my look over here, did either of you guys even see that today? What happened with Washington?
Nope.
More people came out today and said cheerleaders and former employees say that they were sexually assaulted in the building. A couple of them by Dan Snyder himself. And you don't even know.
Yeah, I didn't even see it.
It's on ESPN and it's on CNN. And you don't, because it's like I said, hey, let's focus on this. We're over here. We're going to try to fix the racial things. And it maybe in a way the NFL has been dealing with this for the last several years. So they might have a plan kind of behind the scenes so that they can try to band-aid this issue and move on. But I mean, this stuff, getting the people at the peak of their powers out needs to happen. And ultimately, I understand that the owners are Roger Goodell's boss. Goodell has to find a way to convince these owners to get the bad eggs out, because that's Goodell's job, is to preserve the league, continue to have its value. The only thing that's going to stop the NFL from being the juggernaut that it is stuff like this becoming more and more and more relevant. Because at some point, people as a society are going to go, it's not worth it. If I know everyone running this is racist and are sexual abusers and committing sexual assault and all of these other things, eventually it's going to get to a point where we got to stop this. And it's going to come down to the owners voting each other out and Goodell making that happen.
The thing is, though, that you got to remember is Goodell is not an employee of the NFL. He's an employee of the owners.
Correct.
The owners choose him to be there because he's their puppet, and he does exactly what they do. So he would never come out against these owners for any reason at all. So, once again, the whole system is just completely screwed, and there's nothing we can do about it because of the way everything's set up. The only way that this is going to change is if ownership changes and those owners are untouchable.
Yeah, but I think at some point, a wedge is going to be driven through this owners. I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's a 2/3 vote. If 2/3 of, I'd have to double check that, 2/3 of the owners vote that you have to sell the team, you have to sell the team.
It's great.
And so if there starts to be a wedge,
convincing all of his friends to get him out of there.
Right.
Yeah, I think it starts mainly with getting these owners out. Is it starts the players, and if anyone's going to get it changed, it's going to be if all of these players unite. The players union unites and goes on strike because of the poor ownership stuff. Like, because now we're starting to get a list of owners that are on the naughty list per se, and I think the only way it gets done is if you have the best of the best athletes say, we're not playing until you take care of this.
And here's the thing, though. A lot of guys last year went out and said, okay, we want this, this, and this done. We want you, the rest of the players, to show up and vote this way, and this is what we're advising you to do. And still half the population did not even turn in.
That's with other stuff, though. That's not with ownership.
Getting a strike to happen is going to take a lot of organizing for that. And as we've seen, no matter what they try to do, a lot of those guys at the end of the day are going to be paycheck to paycheck. They don't care, you know?
The NFLPA
they shouldn't be paycheck to paycheck, because even if you're a practice squad player, you're making a couple $100,000
It's the paycheck to paycheck mindset, because these guys are hopping from team to team just trying to get on a roster.
You gotta remember that though too, AJ. If you're making $400,000 a year and you're paying nutritionists and you're tipping out staff, and
they're not.
What do you mean they're not?
No. Low, like, guys on the team aren't paying for their own nutritionists.
Yeah, they are. That's how they stay. There's articles everywhere. That's
besides the point.
We don't need to argue about it. It's too small of a point.
It's 3/4. I just double checked on that.
The point is, good luck organizing that amount of people.
Yeah, and ultimately that's got to come from stronger leadership from the NFLPA.
Now, what you're saying, AJ, though, of like the best of the best. So, like, if Mahomes said, I'm not playing this year, and then a whole bunch of other players joined him, stuff like that, maybe that would change something. Maybe. But once again, good luck.
No, I know. I'm saying it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm saying that is the only way to get an owner out is if you get the entire players union to boycott, because fans aren't going to boycott if their favorite players are playing.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because the owners get such a weird benefit of the doubt. Like a perfect thing with Dan Snyder in Washington. Okay, all of these horrendous things are happening, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to change the name away from what a lot of people viewed as a racist name," and then it's like he gets this giant applause for doing what probably should have been done a long time ago, as if that has any effect on how the organization is ran and what's going on in there and what has gone on there. But it's like, okay, we're just going to take this one good thing and then ignore everything else.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even call it a good thing when it took him over 20 years.
No, I agree, but
to do it.
Once that happens, there's so much focus on, because the league is so media driven, that what's the new name? What are we doing with this thing? Oh, we're going to be the football team this year. What do the jerseys look like? We just saw it a couple of days ago when they released the jerseys. And it's, we're talking about this, we're talking about that. When was the last time you heard on any sort of relevant media site anything about Dan Snyder's, apart from today, that wasn't even exactly a booming story? Anything about what went on in Washington? Months?
Yep.
Last year? I mean, it's unfortunate and it's sad, but it's the reality.
All right. Let's talk football now. We got past our serious issues portion of the podcast, and now we'll get to the fun stuff. Let's talk about last Sunday's games, and we'll start in chronological order of when they took place. Chiefs, Bengals. Hunter, you were at this game too. Dude, this is our on-site reporter, Hunter Harris. Hunter, what'd you see at the game?
It's me and Aaron Andrews on the sideline all game. I've asked her out like 20 times. She's still saying no. I was unexpectedly at this game. I didn't expect to be there. And I actually had pretty decent seats to see pretty much everything. And what I saw in this game, first half went pretty much exactly how I thought this game would go. Thought the defense for the Chiefs came out ready to play. Spags had them ready to go against whatever they were getting thrown at them. And then at halftime was when that whole game switched up. At the end of the half there, they were driving down the field. At this point, it was 21-3, or was it 21-10? I think it was 21-10.
21-3.
Okay. They're marching down the field. The Chiefs have the opportunity to at least get 3 points on the board here.
You're talking about right before halftime?
Yes, right before halftime.
Oh, then it was 21-10 at that point.
Yeah, I was like, I thought P. Ryan scored there in the first half. Okay, yeah. They're driving down the field there. They have the opportunity to take a field goal. And I'm not even going to spend a whole lot of time talking about, okay, they should have set up for the field goal, all that stuff. They threw a challenge flag. Andy Reid threw a challenge on that drive, and he called a timeout before it. So he wasted a timeout, and then they were down to 2 timeouts. And this is very, very important because, I meant to say this is earlier in the game. I'm all scatterbrained, sorry right now. Earlier in the game, that was when he threw the challenge flag, and he won the challenge, all that, got their timeout back from that, but he wasted the challenge to throw that challenge flag. Later on in the half there, and they were driving down to get 3 points, they were down that timeout, so they used all their timeouts, and they're at the goal line. They still want to be aggressive. What you should have done is obviously throw it over the middle of the field to Kelsey or somebody and then kick the field goal. He throws it to Tyreek Hill, who's in bounds. He gets tackled. They run out the clock. 3 points off the board, but the momentum shifted in this game dramatically. I feel like that was the game-changing play right there. Because coming out of halftime, Bengals are ready to go. They get a 3-and-out against the Chiefs, immediately go down the field and score, and it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, the Chiefs scored 21 points on their first 3 drives of that game, and then scored 3 points on the rest of their drives for the rest of the game. I don't think enough people are talking about, because everyone's wanting to talk about Joe Burrow and this Bengals team. I don't think anyone's talking about how really monumental of a collapse this is for this Chiefs team. Being up, like going downfield and scoring touchdowns, and I would say pretty easily after the first 3 drives of the game. I was literally right before P. Ryan scored that touchdown. I was waiting to send the tweet. I had this game's over. Lock it up for the Chiefs. And then P. Ryan scored, and I said, okay, I'll hang on to this. And then the Chiefs go downfield, and they're about to score that touchdown at halftime, Hunter. And then they don't get any points because Mahomes throws that pass to Tyreek Hill and then calls for a timeout and didn't have a timeout. And I decided to delete that tweet because I was like, let's see where this goes. And then we know the rest of the story.
We must be listening to different media. I don't hear enough people giving the Bengals credit for anything. Everything that I'm listening to is
we do listen to different stuff though.
Is Kansas City collapse, Kansas City collapse, Kansas City collapse. Well, I'll take the other approach then. The Bengals won this game.
No, they did. That defense played their butts off in the second half.
That defensive performance is one of the most impressive things I've seen in a very long time. They were throwing everything different at him. They were rushing three, letting Mahomes be, going, figure it out, dude. You're not gonna get us deep. I believe the stat was, I was trying to find it there while you were talking, AJ. That he had the most or the longest time to throw of any game in his career, while having one of his lowest 5 depth per targets of his career. So not only were the Bengals, yes,
yeah, he didn't throw the ball 20 yards downfield, right?
No, I don't believe so. Not only were they keeping him kind of in the pocket and not letting him run around, but they were doing a good job of not letting any deep plays go. And normally when the longer those plays go, the more those speedy wide receivers get free, or Kelsey gets lost because someone's going out. And I think the Bengals did a fantastic job. This, as much as people want to complain about Kansas City, the Bengals won this game, and no one gave them a chance to, and no one certainly gave them a chance when they got down like that as fast as they did. I know I didn't.
Yeah, like I said, I was about to send that tweet out that the game was over.
And I mean, for all intents and purposes, it was.
Yeah.
But I mean,
the only ones that didn't think it was over was Cincinnati.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's just every couple of years we have a team like this. And it's just like Team of Destiny vibes, dude. The Bengals team just won't lose. And there's a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of stuff goes against them. And the games are ugly. And there's a couple bounces here and there. And they've all gone their way. And at some point, you just got to tip your cap to them, because you can't get too many bounces without being in the right spot. You know, it might have been a little bit luck, but that interception with Von Bell, if he's not doing his job getting over the top of him as fast as he can,
that was a heck of a play.
But he's not. He got there and was in a spot there that he could make the play. And they're going to the Super Bowl, dude. That's crazy. I would have never thought.
But here's the why I will push back on saying the Bengals won that game and say that the Chiefs actually lost that game. First off, you're up 21-3. Whenever you're up like that and you lose a lead like that, like, it's your own fault. But to me, the main things that lost this game, I already pointed out, Andy Reid and the play calling there at the end of the half, or the timeout, whatever you want to blame it on. They didn't get points there, obviously, and they did lose by 3 points. You could point to that. But to me, what really lost them this game was Mahomes just seemed uncomfortable and not like himself at the end of that game. Final drive of the game, they went all the way down the field. I think the entire stadium at that point thought that they were just going to score an easy touchdown and win this game. They ended up having to settle for a field goal. The reason they had to settle for a field goal, though, was because 2 plays in a row, Mahomes had wide open touchdown passes, and he didn't take it. I don't know what he was thinking, if he was just uncomfortable, didn't like it.
It wouldn't have looked cool, dude. If he'd have just thrown a slant right off the bat to Kelsey, is that what you're talking about in the end zone or an in route?
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about Hardman running the flat route right on that first.
On the first one, yeah. No, yeah, you're right. That was a good one too.
Hardman,
that's a touchdown, but it's a tough one. I will say it's a tough one.
Hardman played awful in the second half. It drops. He was running the wrong routes.
That's also another thing that he's probably thinking about before he throws that ball. But if he throws that to him, he's got at least a chance to score. And if not, he's staying in bounds. Instead, he dances around. He takes a sack. Okay. We lost two yards here. Let's do it again. He has Kelsey running a slant right across the middle. That's what you're talking about, Austin. It's not even or AJ. It's not even a slant. It's like a lazy little.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's
Doesn't
Doesn't
wide
matter. He
open.
comes open. Yeah.
Wide open. Doesn't take it, dances around a little bit. Pringle then comes from the back of the end zone. He's wide open. He doesn't take it either. Then he dances around a little bit more, and I don't remember, does he throw it away or get
That's
sacked
when
on
Sam
that play?
Hubbard. No, that's when Sam Hubbard flew in and got the big sack, and that was like
Okay.
the 20-yard loss that made it a 45-yard field goal instead
that
of a
was
chip
it.
shot.
And that was it for the regulation. Overtime, I don't know what the heck that was offensively. But
He was in his head. He was in his own head.
he was
that
in his head in
game,
a big way.
that game ended that drive.
Yeah.
Is that everything was in his head, and I think Mahomes knew he missed a couple of those passes. And we had, I don't remember if it was early this game or if it was last game, Mahomes on the same type of play that he got sacked on that end part of that drive, he threw a touchdown pass. And that's what you get with Mahomes. You get awesome, but sometimes you get real head scratchers. And that's ultimately who he's going to be. And he's going to be a lot of fun, and he's going to be electric, and he's going to make a ton of throws that nobody else can make. But at times, maybe parts of what everyone feared in him were right. Mechanics weren't great coming out. AJ sent me a long Cowherd video, and he's not my favorite person in the world, but he made some good points.
Yeah.
And it's, the footwork sucked. Sometimes all of a sudden he just wasn't the same player.
It's the same thing I've seen with Rodgers. Sometimes when you're so good at extending plays, you start to extend too many plays.
Yeah. And it's a good point, too. He just lost in the championship game. So it would be the same thing you've seen out of Rodgers.
Yeah. You set him up. Hunter, that one's on you.
It was a layup, dude.
Yeah. You threw it off the backboard for him, and he yammed it, dude. Eternal Yammnation.
I am seeing a lot of people that are just saying Joe Burrow won this game, though.
No.
And that is ridiculous. Don't say that. If you're one of those people, you're one of those quarterback wins people, and I hate your guts already, so I won't be listening to you. But it's just a game of inches, man. It just reinstates every single week in the playoffs. I see these games. It's a game of inches. It's literally either if Mahomes decides to make one of those throws, game's over. Burrow is scrambling on a lot of those plays. They just sack him on a couple of those plays where he extends the drives. That's a huge difference there as well. So, to me, Burrow even threw the game-losing interception. No one will talk about that. He threw the game-losing interception. The guy dropped the football.
He tried to throw another one, too, on that horrific half throwaway thing on the sideline that I think it was Bolton that couldn't come into it or come in and get it.
But respect for him for keeping the plays live that he did and moving the team down the field. So.
All right, so one more thing we need to hit on before we move on to the NFC side of this is Burrow's running ability and his playmaking ability. Because he completed 2 huge third downs in that game that probably would have put a nail in the coffin.
Running away from Chris Jones.
Yep. That play there, I think it was a 3rd and 6 and a 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 7, something like that. That he found a way to get away, and he outrushed Mahomes in this game. Which those types of plays that Burrow made in those spots are vintage stuff that Patrick Mahomes has done in their Super Bowl runs the last few years. This plays where he escapes, gets away, gets down the sideline, tiptoes, and gets in a first down that they really have to have when stuff breaks down. And Cincinnati did a great job of halting Mahomes there. And Burrow did. He's not the best athlete that plays quarterback in the NFL, but he showed you that even though he has been banged up and beat up this year, that when it needs to happen, he can make that play. Those two were huge for them to keep going here, and without them, they definitely wouldn't be in the spot they are.
Sacked 9 times the week before. Then he comes out, he's sacked 1 time, breaks away from multiple other opportunities where he could have gotten sacked as well. And some of the biggest plays of the game. Those were big third down plays when he was doing that. So if Burrow deserves any credit, it's for plays like that throughout that game.
Yeah, it's those weren't small guys either. That wasn't like a corner blitz that he shrugged off his shoulders. That was Chris Jones a couple times that he got away. And even if he didn't necessarily take off for him, just the ability to get out and throw it away or check it down and turn what's a 7, 8, 9 yard loss into at least a 0-yard play which was huge for that offense because the explosiveness was not there for Cincinnati this week. Kansas City bottled up Chase for the most part. But ultimately, it came down to Burrow making some throws into some tight windows. T. Higgins came up big, and we're going to have a fun one next week. Or 2 weeks.
See, moving on to the NFC matchup, 49ers Rams. Hunter, were you at this game too?
I was, actually. I was on the sideline there. I was making some of those coaching decisions for Sean McVay. That's why they were so poor.
Austin, I'll let you lead this game off.
Yeah, I mean, it was something. I thought the Rams were going to win this game pretty handedly, and they really struggled to move the ball there for quite a while. It's a good thing Sean McVay has Matt Stafford to bail him out of some of those decisions, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
The GOAT, Matt Stafford.
Uh-huh.
Put some respect on that name.
So are we going to be... Let's just get this out of the way before we even continue. We don't really care who wins the Super Bowl, right? Everyone would be... In this podcast, like, I'd be happy if the Bengals won it, but I'd also be happy if Matt Stafford won it.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me either way.
Like, if you made me pick, I think I'd probably lean Rams just because I love Stafford, but no part of me will be upset if Cincinnati wins that game.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. I don't really care either way.
Just get to enjoy it, and I think it's going to be a good one, too.
Who knows? I might be at this one.
Could be. Back to the 49ers-Rams game. Pretty good game for Jimmy G, right? Last play of the game. Did you guys hate on him for that last play that he made the interception to end the game?
You should.
Why?
Because it's third down.
Okay, so you want 4th and 22?
Over an interception? Yeah, sure do.
He wasn't trying to throw an interception. It bounced off the running back's hands.
He was face down and flipped the ball backhanded into traffic.
And we would have all screamed our bloody heads off if Patrick Mahomes did it.
Not that.
Yes.
He wasn't even looking. He was faced the wrong direction. I know I'm not in Chiefs territory down there.
I don't care either way. They were losing that football game the second the drive started.
They were, but let's not pretend like that's just... I mean, I don't love the theory of 4th and whatever it would have been, 20, whatever.
Yeah, like especially when he's had half a second to drop back and pass on the previous 3 plays.
Yeah, because they put themselves in that spot by not being able to convert when they needed to earlier in the game. Oh, because Garoppolo was awful.
Yeah, Garoppolo was the reason they lost that football game, but not because of that play. Continue, Austin.
Yeah, I mean, the Rams defense ultimately did what anybody said that they would have to do to win this game. The 49ers in this game had 20 carries as a team for 50 yards. They're not winning games.
Good.
Like
no.
I mean, they're just not. And they made Garoppolo beat him. And Garoppolo barely had a 50% completion and had that pick at the end of the game and missed a lot of open guys like he does every single week.
Yep, he's the reason they lost this football game. When you play a team that closely with an inferior quarterback without being able to run the ball like that, it's literally just a couple of plays here and there that the quarterback has to make. I didn't get to see the first quarter and a half of this game because I was sitting in a parking lot trying to get out of that Arrowhead Stadium, so I didn't get to see any of that. But what I saw was when the offense finally started clicking there for the Rams, it was a lot of just Matt Stafford getting it done with Kupp/OBJ / whatever he needed. And it was a lot of just disregarding, because, I mean, let's be honest, McVay was terrible in this game. He was terrible in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and Stafford bailed him out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stafford
I mean,
made some really nice plays.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 huge ones were the field goal before halftime. Gay just missed a field goal last week. He missed a 47-yarder short. Why are you attempting a 54-yard field goal?
Yeah.
I mean, there's absolutely no excuse.
Yep.
I know, and it cost him points. The 49ers came down and got 3 points there because
do you think if I had a coaching power rankings that he's sliding down pretty quickly?
Dude, he is.
Like
He's an
still up
offensive-
there. He just has these meltdown moments in playoff games.
He's not a good
Sean
game
McVay-
manager. He's good at designing an offense and
He's an
stuff, but
offensive
he's not
coordinator.
he's not good at running it though.
He's not good at running a team.
No.
He's a great offensive coordinator. And I will give him credit. The one of his best qualities as a head coach is realizing what he doesn't do well, because I don't think he touches that defense, and the defense has been fantastic. And he goes out and gets
Yeah,
really
he shouldn't
good
touch the
coaches.
defense.
He goes out and gets really good coaches. And that's credit to him, because that's what great head coaches do, is they recognize their weaknesses. But man, does he need to hire a dude to manage a clock.
Yeah.
Because that's questionable, and when not to kick the ball in any variety is very suspect.
Yeah.
You know, the fourth and, the turnover on downs that I think it was at like the 45. I have no problem with them going for it there, because you don't have a kicker that has that type of leg. But the play calling was just like, it didn't make any sense at all. I mean, this quarterback
He's
sneak
too
was the most
conservative.
obvious thing ever. And I don't even know what to call the play before. Like, you're one of the most creative people in the entire league, and that's what you came up with?
He gets really conservative in big time moments.
Yeah.
He's just not an aggressive.
Raises up.
Yeah. Like he might, be pretty forward thinking in the type of offense he runs, but when it comes to game management, he's pretty conservative.
Yeah.
But to be fair now,
To be fair.
two of the biggest moments of the games past 2 weeks, Stafford has gone deep. So
Yeah, because Stafford had to make the play because his coach wasn't helping him out with
but-
anything.
But McVay did send in that call. But we just praised Stafford a whole bunch, and I threw just a bunch of praise at Stafford. He also made a play there that almost lost that football game. He threw a punt up in the air that hit Tart in the hands, and he dropped it at midfield. They had to go 15 yards to get points. It's funny to me. It's just so funny to me how
No, that was on first down in their own territory. That was the first play of that drive. He chucked it deep.
Uh-huh.
I'm not I talked to one of you, and I don't remember which one of you we talked about this, about blaming, I think it was Hunter, about blaming one person for a loss. It's real hard to not blame Tart for this loss. Like, it's real hard, because if you can get, 2 first downs, the game's over. Because McVay also horribly managed his timeouts in the second half of that game.
Oh, yeah.
And
they were only able to get a field goal out of that possession. That was a win for them.
They had no timeouts with 7 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah. Again, McVay. But that was
game.
Think of
an
easier, more important interception in the last 5 to 10 years. I can't. I mean, that sends him to the Super Bowl, and it was right in his breadbasket, uncontested, on an absolute lollipop.
Yeah, Matt Stafford handed him the lollipop.
Do you think?
I don't think he could have went out there and put it in his chest any better than the throw was right to him.
Do you think there was a little divine intervention there? Like Stafford was made to sit in Detroit for all those years, so he got a little help there. Like, all right, fine, here's your makeup for all those years you had to be in Detroit.
This one's for Detroit because their franchise can't do it, and Cincinnati.
If by divine intervention you mean Odell Beckham leaving the Cleveland Browns to go to this football team, then yes.
It's really weird. Did he break up that interception?
Yeah, Hunter, I thought about him in this game, and I thought, man, Hunter gives him a lot of praise, yet he didn't sign with the Packers, and he doesn't take any offense to that whatsoever.
I don't take offense to it at all, because we lowballed the hell out of him.
Okay, but you also were complaining last week that you had no other receivers to go with Devontae Adams, and you had a chance to get OBJ, and now he's going to a Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, Hunter's been right on with that one.
I've been consistent the whole way through. I love Odell Beckham. He's still got it, and this game shows it. I mean, how much do they lean on him? Again, there's 2 playoff games in a row here.
Well, that's because they don't have any Higbee anymore either, so now it really is just Tuff and OBJ.
Higbee gap, huh? What?
They leaned on Odell?
Dude, he had 9 catches in this game. Didn't he? Let me look here. Let me look at the stats.
It was his first time going for over 100 yards since 2019.
9 receptions, 113 yards on 11 targets. What are we talking about?
Right.
I'm with you. I know.
but Cooper Kupp had 140 yards.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Correct.
But he's also been doing this all year long, and we expect that of him. Shout out to
but
him.
Cooper Kupp's still the better receiver and still the number one.
Shout out to him.
Lean implies the most important.
But how huge is it having a second receiver that can get open and win one-on-one coverage? I mean, it's huge.
I wouldn't know. I'm a Browns fan.
I know, right?
Of course,
I wouldn't know. I'm a Packers fan.
It's true. Only one good weapon at a time.
Anyways, shout out to me for getting that whole old elf.
Oh, hey, shout out to the CBS broadcast team on Sunday too. Hunter, you didn't get to quite get it in full, but the halftime show was pretty awesome. The halftime
I heard it was awesome.
The halftime analysis, it was really just what's his name from Good Morning Football, just like out there, like sitting at the desk, like we can't hear each other, so I'm just gonna dance, dude.
Yeah,
it was probably the worst production I've ever seen.
Well, they rolled out
Nice
just
job,
a bunch
CBS.
of speakers too, and they just put a speaker in each corner of the end zone, and that was
they parked it right behind them.
No stage, nothing at all, just speakers. That's all we got.
Yeah. So dumb.
But Tech 9 did come out to rally the troops there in the fourth quarter, so shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out. Worked out pretty well. What was the parking lot vibe after the game, dude?
Yeah, the parking lot vibe was not great. Not great at all. No.
Everyone pretty thrilled.
I have a major beef with getting out of these sports stadiums, and like they make you, when you leave Arrowhead, if you want to get to these outside parking lots, it's all fenced off. So you have to go through this tunnel. And of course this tunnel is all like everybody's trying to go through this tunnel. So I'm standing in line there waiting to get through this tunnel for about a half hour there when I could have been watching that Rams football game. Plus they don't have any service out in that parking lot. I have major beef with Arrowhead Stadium.
That would be my bigger beef there. Anytime you exodus like 50,000 people at one time, there's going to be some delays.
I get
But
it.
to not have self-service out there, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. I need at least self-service.
Yeah, figure it out.
Even Green Bay had that in the snowstorm. Come on now.
Figure it out.
Yeah, and that's all the way up in Wisconsin. Sorry, Wisconsin. We respect you.
No, we don't.
Hunter and I do. Shout out Germantown, Wisconsin.
Is that everything we had on the list to talk about today? Because we're not doing previews until next week.
It is all we have. Next week's show, we're going to do our famous prop bet show and our Super Bowl predictions and everything. So tune in for that. Anything you guys want to add to the end of this show before we go?
Do we want to do picks for the Pro Bowl?
No. I really
Who won
don't.
the dodgeball competition today? I'd love to know.
NFC won.
Did they?
I turned it on
I
right at
missed
the
it.
end.
It already happened?
Yeah, I turned it on right at the end. Nick Chubb threw it, and just Justin Jefferson's just really good at catching balls.
Chubb went down.
Chubb went down.
Damn.
Down goes Chubb. I'm pretty sure the other key thing too was Stephon Diggs tried to get Trayvon Diggs out, and Trayvon caught it, intercepted it, as you will, and that's how Stephon Diggs got out.
NFC has won the last 4 matchups in a row. Oh, interesting. What's the spread?
Dynasty? Why aren't we talking about a dynasty, guys?
I saw
Is there a spread on
clip
this
too.
game? Please tell me there's a spread on this game.
I saw a clip on Twitter that it was like Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes talking, and I was like, is Patrick Mahomes embarrassed to be there right now?
Yes.
Because of how bad he played, like, and that he's the best quarterback in the league and didn't get his team to the Super Bowl because he ultimately choked. We don't need to talk about it. Sorry, Chiefs fans. I'm going to rub it in till next year.
You can bet on this football game. That's hilarious. Over-under set at 61.5.
Over.
None of them care. Give me the over.
Bet the over. Yeah, bet the over.
Dude, that's what I'd say, but looking at these past scores here, I mean, I would top score 20, 24, 27 to 7. So, you know.
Is this a Vegas pump line? Is it like, is there major value on the under there?
Who's the home team is what we got to ask. Who has the home field advantage?
All right,
Whichever
that does
team
it for
has tried
today's
ball on.
podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Hunter, what'd you think of the beer before we go?
It was terrible. I hate it.
That's
Jesus.
that's what happens when you make an imperial brown ale with sweet potatoes, cinnamon, brown sugar, and vanilla. Doesn't turn out too
Do you
well.
like yams, Hunter?
I do not like yams, so that was probably
Okay, well, then why did
He
you
does
think
not
like
like yams, Sam. Austin, don't ask us
Don't
why we
ask
bought
why.
the beer. You know why we
I
bought
know
the beer.
why.
You literally know why.
I know.
Look at it.
why.
It's a bunch of s'mores gathering around a campfire fighting a bunch of yams. How do you not buy this beer? You don't enjoy it, obviously, because it's garbage, but you enjoy looking at the can.
And you know how much this beer cost me? $3.50 for this freaking thing I took one drink of.
Mine was $3.48, but yeah. One sip. Oh, if this was in a fridge filled with a lot of beers, I would not drink it. I would see how far I could throw it.
And that is the official the official rating system.
That is the official rating system of our podcast. Is if it's in a fridge with a bunch of other beers, I might have it, I'll have it, or I'm going to throw it as far as I can. This one, getting hooked. Until next week, everybody. See you later.